Greetings, it's Vaygrim, back again with another episode. We've been doing some updates to some mods that we've got in the pack, and in the process, we've gained some updates on some things, like the new version of JABBA with my trusty barrel hammer. We've also updated things like NEI and chicken chunks. We've made an addition to the pack in the way of Steve's Factory, and I'm very, very interested to see where that's going to go. Unfortunately, in the process of gaining, we've also lost. We've had to drop Morph because it was conflicting with another new mod that I really wanted to put to use and try and flex my muscle on. Now, losing Morph means that I lose easy flight and shape-shifting capabilities, which can definitely be seen as a good balance in the grand scheme of things, not having access to that. So, what I'm going to start doing is making use of the Superman enchantment from Mariculture. I'm actually not big on the name, but it actually balances out very well. The only thing I can do it on is jewelry from Mariculture. Stuff like this. That's the only thing I can put that buff on, and that jewelry is unrepairable. Restore won't help it. I can't put it in the Arcane Restorer, whatever that thing is called, from Ars Magica 2. Repair from Thaumcraft won't go on jewelry. So it is a piece of jewelry that requires a diamond and expires over a fixed period of time the more I use it. I see that as a balance. I see that as meaning that I have access to a limited form of flight that still lets me do some more creative flexibility, some more creative building around the base, but it also means that I'm having to spend resources every so often in order to keep it going, in the form of diamonds and iron. So, I think that's a good balance. Now, why did we have to drop Morph? I'll tell you why we had to drop Morph. We had to drop Morph so we could make use of a new mod that lets me do something like this. So that was done with Camera Studio. Camera Studio is a great mod that's been around actually for quite a while, but I've always had a little bit of trouble getting it to cooperate with some things. I think I've finally got it ironed out. I've been using it in my Resonant Rise series recently, and I'd like to start using it here so you guys can actually watch some better build montages. I'm very, very excited about that, and we'll see what kind of stuff we can actually do with it in the coming episodes. So, the cow farm is going very, very well, the cow and pig farm. I think I ended up cutting it out in editing, but basically that pig spawner came from the Twilight Forest, something I discovered and I didn't know this. If you get an animal spawner or a mob spawner in the Twilight Forest and you bring it back to the overworld, it turns into a pig spawner. So I've got 3 of them. They were witch spawners from the Twilight Forest. They're now pig spawners. Oh, well. So it looks like if I'm going to get anything from the Twilight Forest, I'm going to have to bring it back in a safari net and use it in our spawning chamber in the detention block. Over here in the farm, I've swapped out the trees. I'm stocking up on a different kind of wood this time, that in the form of spruce trees. The broom is still doing a great job. Now, I've put my ender lily seeds over here, but for some reason, they keep getting popped out of the actual end stone. I think I have a sneaking suspicion it is when a harvesting process goes off with this, it pulls it out. I'm not sure though. It shouldn't. So I'm kind of curious. I'm going to have to watch that. I've got a reservoir underneath here from Ender IO that's feeding into a little tank and a sprinkler from Open Blocks. Put some bone meal in there. And I decided to combine that with this. What I've discovered is that the thing I'm using to chop down the trees is actually the sigil of the fell oak. And it doesn't work on anything but trees. It only does trees. But the Nature's Bounty sigil I have in there to speed up the growth of trees also speeds up plants. So I put some stuff down here, some wheat, to grow that. Okay, didn't do it this time. Huh, interesting. So I'm kind of doubling up on things. The sprinkler and Nature's Bounty sickle right here means this wheat grows real quick. Now, I was growing the wheat for over here, our trusty cow farm, the slaughter machine. You guys had some comments, and honestly, I didn't think about this. It's a good point. I don't even have to use that breeder machine because for no wheat and no power, I can use a sigil. It just takes some resources to make one, and it's a little slower. But that means I don't have to worry about refilling it. And see, I think we're fixing to get a calf right here. I'm not sure. I also, at your suggestion, put in a vacuum hopper from open blocks that feeds into a tank. So we're actually getting experience in the form of liquid experience right there, which is very, very cool. Now, I have had to put some of these conveyor belts right here in order to make sure that the calves don't get on the far end of the room. But otherwise, things here are working pretty well in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. So, these conveyor belts are moving, but for some reason they're not going visually. I'm not sure why. That's a bug that started just recently. I plugged Optifine in, and honestly, I think I might move it back out because Optifine seems to cause more problems than it actually solves. So we'll see how that goes. This setup is still going really, really well. I cinched this back wall in one step again. I think it looks better that way. It looks more evenly laid out. I don't have that weird little ledge sticking all the way out across the back. So it's very, very nice. I've got instead of the barrels in here, I decided to move them out here. So now you'll see I'm developing a stockpile of pork, of beef, and of leather, which is very nice. And I'm also getting mob essence. Now, this episode, one thing I'd like to do is see if I can make a dimensional transceiver from Ender.io, so we can get it hooked up here and pump this into the central tank over there in the detention block. Very, very cool stuff. The sheep say hi. Everything else is going pretty well. I'm actually getting to the point to where, thanks to the easy research setting in Thaumcraft, that I'm actually finishing up a lot of Thaumcraft research now. So I think next episode I'd like to tackle that. I haven't made any changes over here. It's still going very, very strong. Still works great. I still have the skeleton in here and Blaze in the actual machine. So as you'll see over here, we're stocking up pretty nicely on resources. The one thing that I am still having a hard time doing is finding an Enderman that I can actually nab with the Safari Net, because I want to get Enderman spawning in there also. But overall, that is coming along very nicely. It's progressing quite well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather some resources together, and I think we're going to have to tackle first upgrading the reactor downstairs and moving it just a little bit, and then we'll see what we can do next, what kind of trouble we can get into. I say, no man's bedroom area should be without his giant ham bone. Yeah. Just a quick update. We have updated to JABBA version 1.10C for Charlie. And I'm very happy to say, and thanks to Professor Mobius for this, it went flawlessly. I had no problems with the update, no issues. All in all, it's been a very, very smooth transition. Every once in a while, you'll see something blinking in out of existence out of the corner of my eye. That's not his barrels. That's Optifine. And that's one of the reasons why Optifine's driving me batty. I cannot stand all of the visual glitching that it puts into place. Anyway, as you'll notice, our barrels that were already upgraded beyond basic barrels seamlessly made the transition. This was structural level 2. and it's got no available upgrade slots because all 3 have been put into space. 256 stacks maximum, which is nice. So, yeah, it's very, very cool. It's nice to be able to see this is 512. That one's been maxed out all the way as well. So it made the upgrade for us automatically, and I can see at a distance how many free slots these things have. It's very, very nice. But since we're actually transitioning to an Applied Energistics system, all of these are just going to stay barrels. I'm probably not going to put any fancy features on these. I might put some fancy features like redstone control on the ones over there, though. That could be nice, especially for the detention block. Automatically turn the lights on when we reach certain thresholds. Yeah, that could be cool. The actual transition itself actually went pretty smooth, though. I didn't have any hiccups, any problems. There's been a slight recipe conflict with the barrel hammer. But based upon how it loads, there's also a hammer with the same recipe in Minechem. But Pixelapix, the actual author of Minechem, said that hammer isn't used for anything. He's probably going to take it out. Nobody uses it. So that recipe conflict goes away. Professor Mobius was very, very happy about that. All in all, though, I'm very happy that we didn't run across any problems, no vanishing inventory, no disappearing barrels. It was very, very smooth. And I'm one happy camper. As you can see, whoa, I have 19 stacks of Certus quartz, and I've got some of the dust over here somewhere too. So yeah, we're stacked up pretty good to get started on making AE parts, which I'm going to do here in the meantime. The digital miner finished off, which is very, very cool, and it has basically finished its work. I went and picked it up in the nether, and it's back here at base now, sitting in a cupboard, because I don't really need it right now. So yeah, so I'm going to actually start making us some parts, some starter parts for Applied Energistics, but first we need to go tackle the big reactor. So I'll meet you guys downstairs. So, first big project. I made this thing 5 blocks wide by 5 blocks wide. But I should have made it 5 blocks tall. For some reason, I only made it 4. Now, what I'm going to have to do is open this thing up and actually first bucket out all of the cryothium that's inside of it. That's what this liquid is right here. Then I'm going to have to actually take out the control rods on the inside, or the fuel rods on the inside, and basically extend it. I'm going to have to move everything out one, because if I drop it down one here, that's the outside wall. As you can probably see, that is actually outside wall, which means I can't get rid of that, or I'll end up having a reactor sticking out the side of the building, and that's just not going to work. So what I'm going to have to do is move everything over 1 block. This is going to be where the back is now instead of this. So it's going to move 1 block this way, and then I'm going to sink it down 1 block. That way we don't have to move any of that stuff on top, which will make me very, very happy. So I'm going to spend the next little bit actually going over this and seeing if I can make it cooperate. And I will get back with you guys as I make progress. Okay. So I've taken off the redstone controls over here, which means it's pretty much permanently off unless I turn it on. I've disconnected the tube that was reprocessing the waste into plutonium. And I've taken out the excess fuel that I had going in right here. That's all waiting over here now. The only thing connected in the back now is right here, and I think I can just disconnect that temporarily. And I think I was having to use my heal spell for radiation damage. Because I still have some of this stuff sitting around from Atomic Science that I'm probably not going to use. And you can use it in the actual recipes for big reactors if you look. See, right there in the middle. Enriched uranium. So, okay, now the really fun task. I'm going to go up here. That basically... Thank goodness for being able to fly. should have had... That stuff is getting destroyed by the cryotheum, so I'll have to make some other parts. Okay, well, this comes to the boring part. What I'm going to do now is get a tank. No. Get a tank, get a bucket, and start clearing out. I did not actually know that cryotheum destroyed stuff that dropped in it. So, you live, you learn. Okay, I'm going to finish clearing this out, and I will get back to you guys as soon as I'm finished. Okay, so I think I have enough liquid cryotheum right there, the gelid cryotheum. That's from thermal expansion. I think I have enough. Since I'm increasing the height of our big reactor, I'm having to actually make more. This is, by the way, perfect example. If you can see that, that's why I don't like Optifine. Because you get perfectly good blocks and you make them look hideous, just like that. It's a pain in the butt. I'm probably going to remove it after this episode because I can't stand that. It drives me batty. So, basically what we're going to do, we are going to have corners just like that. And we have to do bucket, bucket. And we just fill this in as we go along. I think we still have to do, there we go. Nice and smooth. We're going to put another layer on. And this is going to be where the tricky part is. Because we don't have a surface in the middle. Okay, I think I've got a system down now. I got a piece of wool right here that I'm using as a stop, and I am basically bucketing in cryotheum. Wait for it to get nice and smooth, just like that, and then basically what I'll do, now here's the thing that I don't understand. I am breaking other parts so easily. Come on. And I'm busting out glass with my bare hands. And I don't remember having this problem previously. So it's a bit of a pain. Okay, now what I'm going to do now, I have to make another one of those. Over here. Put that right there. Because one of them got dissolved. I guess it's like dropping something in liquid nitrogen. That's my theory anyway. And I go like that. Another piece of wool. And I think I'm going to have one extra, 2, 3, 4. Oh gosh, don't tell me. Yeah, that's not gonna, no. Go. There we go. That's not gonna work. Six, okay. Now I'll have to put it over here so I can actually get to it. Get that. Put it right there. Get that. And I think I'm going to have one left over. So that ice is out, nice and smooth. Get that back. And there we go. Way more of a pain than it should have been. So this is what it's going to look like basically. 4 corners. This is the same setup I have over on the Resonant Rise server. It's the 4 corners, and you get this plus symbol in the middle with liquid cryothium. What I do now is we get our control rods, put them down. And do like that, like that. And then like that. And I think we have a reactor again. The only problem is, in the process of gold bar, of course. I need another gold bar because I lost one of the red net ports. So what I'm going to do is come up here, grab a lone gold bar, redstone port, please. One of those. Now this is going to be the tricky part because I need to do this without sending liquid cryothium all over the floor. Oh, do I have any? Crap, forgot something else. Hang on. I also lost a length of red alloy wire. Okay. And do it from back here. Ah! So I didn't lose that. Hooray! So what we're going to do, power, set toggle from pulse, commit. This one is battery level. Active while, let's see, it's 5%. Drops below 5%, pulse. And when it drops, when it goes above 90%, pulse again. So basically when it drops below 5%, it'll pulse and kick this thing on. And when it hits above 90%, it'll pulse and kick it off, which basically means that we don't get that on-off that we had a problem with. Now what I did was I moved the reactor control panel over here, 4 fuel rods, and plenty of energy still. I'm not sure where it calculates that. I'm going to get a stack, not that many. 1 stack. Put that in there. And good grief, my mouse is going crazy. We now have, I think, what I classify as a stable reactor. What I'm going to do is turn it on and let's watch and see. This should top out at about 2200 RF, I think. Yeah, see, I'm not sure why. We're not getting the same RF output. I don't know what that's about. Because it's 2200 on the Resonant Rise server, and that's what it's supposed to be according to this spreadsheet that I've got. For some reason, mine's stopping at 700, despite the fact that I've got it full up of gelid cryothium. I don't know if I'm missing a block or what. It should have been 15 buckets. I used 15 buckets. I've got all the control rods in place. I'll have to check and see. Okay. So, I did a little bit of research over the last few minutes, and I have discovered that I have, there's a setting in the Big Reactors config file that's called Power Production Multiplier. The default is ×3. For some reason, mine has gotten set down to ×1. So that's why ours is not generating what should be the average power output expectation for the mod. So that makes me feel much more at ease. I have not done something wrong. I just have mine configured with a lower power yield. I'll probably adjust that back up to what is considered the standard, quote unquote, 3 times. And that will put us back up at normal power yield. That makes me very, very happy. So now I'm trying to figure out where I want to have an AE system. We're going to have to put it from over there to over here, because I don't think I want to keep running over here constantly in order to actually keep doing Applied Energistics stuff, inventory control. I'd like to be able to do everything from here and just keep doing what I'm doing. So yeah, I think I am considering, honestly, I'm considering peeling out this set of staircase and putting it right here, because I've got enough jump height. I could just hop over that or just bounce up here real quick and go over it. I don't really need those stairs there anymore, but that would kind of break up the design of the place, so to speak. If I killed one set of stairs, it's suddenly going to be a lopsided design, and I'm not keen on that. So, I could put it right up there, which would be very, very good. I'd have access to it immediately, get everything I need, and then still have access to all my machines. Yeah, you know what? I think I like that idea. I could put it right about here and have necessary control, all the space. It's directly above the reactor. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to make some parts. I'll be right back with you guys. Okay, so we've got power, but no drives yet. Now, why did I decide to go with something on this side rather than on that side of the room? Now, the specific reason that I did choose this side over here was because the reactor takes up, the reactor's probably right about here, basically, our big reactor. And all of the accessories that have to do with it are over here. The cyanide reprocessing, the spare fuel, everything. There's nothing being used on this side of the sphere. It's just dead space, which means that I can put the crafting setup, the crafting assembly, I think it's called a Mac, down here, the machine that does all of the actual crafting. It's a multi-block machine. We're going to need space for it, and there's nothing under here on this segment of the actual sphere. So that means that I can basically hook it directly up into this with minimum cable distance. We're going to have enough cable already, because we're going to have to run a cable from there under the bridge over to here. That's going to be problem enough and battery drain enough. The next thing we're going to do is hook all these up with storage buses. And down here, I don't know if you guys remember, but we've got space down here. This is where the cable is going to be coming through. That's why I planned this. Basically, the AE cable will come in through here. All of this will be stripped out. It'll be storage buses instead. And down here is where we'll put all of our machines to do processing of stuff. That way we can kind of move it out from the sphere itself. It does mean we're going to have to run some power over here, but I think that's the least of our worries right now. So this is going to be a good start, though. Right now I'm going to go make some drives. I wonder if all my stuff is through processing yet. Yes. Okay. So what I want to do right now, 2 degrees spatial. What? 16 cubed. Those are spatial drives. This is a last developmental version that I got at Applied Energistics, where you can actually get a chunk of real space, like, blocks, and convert them into data, and then uncompress them and put them somewhere else in the world. But that's pretty radical and pretty power intensive, and I don't have power for that right now. I think, honestly, right now, what we're going to do, make one of those, and make one of those. That's not too hard, actually. Put that right there. We have some storage space. And our power is hooked up. You see it's still charging itself up. Build, craft, industrial craft, universal. I don't think that RF existed when this came out, so this is being changed to MJ's. 1.9 MJs per tick, and that's because 2 machines and a drive. So basically about 10 units is not that big a deal, it doesn't seem like. That's pretty good. I'm going to make a couple of more of these drives and some cabling, and then we'll see if we can actually make some progress in terms of actually getting all of this hooked up. I don't think I'm going to have the time to make the storage buses for this right now. We'll see. Let me do some more boring crafting, and I'll catch up with you guys in just a minute so I can let you know how far we made it. Okay. I think, based upon the time and how much we've got left in the episode, that I'm going to go ahead and call it an end here. It's going to take me a while to amass enough resources. Well, I've got the resources to amass enough storage buses and cabling in one place at one time to hook up the entirety of the warehouse. So I'm going to work on that between this episode and the next. I'll get it up and running for the next one. I've decided that I really do like things over here. It's accessible enough, and I still have access to all my machines, and it's putting the tiers of this design to use, and I'm real excited about that. I've got a standard access terminal and a crafting terminal, specifically because sometimes I like having the access terminal so I can see more things if I'm not going to just specifically craft it. This allows you to see more content at a time. I actually have a whole bunch of 1K drives right here. This is going to be stuff I'll pre-format for specific types of things. Smaller little knickknacks and stuff like this. I keep having people tell me it's better to start off with 1K drives than to make a whole bunch of 16K ones. Start off with 1Ks and 4Ks. Over here, I've got a 4K drive, and this is set to a higher priority. This is going to, I think, end up being where everything lands initially, and then I can partition those drives for better places. But this is going to be basically, I think, for right now, where I'm going to start storing things temporarily, resources, so I can make stuff a little easier. Also, I have a partition editor specifically to use for those, to make it so that I don't have as much wasted space. I can organize things real well. And I have a pattern encoder, despite the fact that I have not made a Mac yet, a crafting machine. So the auto crafter will go downstairs under here, hooked up by cables. But at which case, I'll probably end up moving this downstairs to there, because I'll end up doing a lot of stuff with it down there. All in all, even with all this stuff hooked up, I'm only ticking over at 3 Minecraft joules. Build craft power, 3 Minecraft joules per tick, which is real low. That's meager power use. So I'm very, very good. I'm very, very excited about this. I think what I'm going to do is have the warehouse hooked up, but have it on a remote cutoff switch so that I can disconnect that length of the network when I'm not using it. Maybe put a lever over here and some wireless redstone, flip that switch, and the warehouse gets cut off and we can conserve power and not waste as much. I think that would be probably a really good design. Then when I want to get something, I flip it back on, step into the system, and I'll see the update automatically right here. That'll be really, really good. In the meantime, I'm going to work on much, much, much more cabling. Next episode, between this episode and next, another thing I'm going to start working on is more spells and gaining more levels in Ars Magica. And I'm going to thinking we want to next episode start setting up some Thaumcraft equipment, because I'm getting a lot of research done and I think we could really start making some headway. Another thing that I'm really thinking about doing is going and spending some time in the Nether, because I need some Wither skulls, because I want to fight the Wither. And I've got a couple of things that I want to spend Nether stars on. Namely, I would like to have another portal gun. It's always cool to have more than one, but biggest priority are a couple of other little toys that I'll tell you guys about in future episode. But I'm thinking a Wither fight might be in our future. I really do think that would be fun. One thing I'm going to have to upgrade first, though, this mage's armor only has equivalents. I have it buffed out, but it's only equivalent to leather. So basically, while I have really tricked out armor, it's only tricked out leather, and I'm going to have to get something better. Might be able to do some of that with Thaumcraft, or maybe some of the more advanced stuff in Ars Magica. We'll have to see how that lands. But as it stands right now, yeah, I want to see if we can set up a Wither fight under our conditions, our circumstances, and see if we can make it as feasible as possible. We'll see where we can go from that. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for spending time with me in this little world of ours. And I can't wait until next time where we can get some more progress done and start advancing some more. I'm really excited about getting things more automated and more streamlined with the Applied Energistics system. And more farms, more automation over there, so there's less manual work that I've got to do, and I can focus on bigger projects. Uh, Another thing I'm going to focus on between now and the next episode is getting an Enderman for our Ender farm and putting another auto spawner in there. That's going to be really, really good. That means we'll have a constant flow of Ender pearls, and I'm happy about that. Okay, guys. Thank you very much for spending time with me. Thanks for stopping by. And as always, I appreciate the likes, the comments, and the subscriptions that you guys give me. Keep the comments coming. You've been giving me some really good points and tips on all of this stuff. I really do appreciate you guys sharing your knowledge with me. Until next time, this is Vaygrim signing out. Bye-bye.